So when I first received the books from our principal, went home and I kind of laid them there and just kind of let them be for the summer for a little bit. And then I said, okay, I got to get going on this. I really have to look it up. I started looking on the internet was my first thing, just to kind of get a little bit of comfort with it, to kind of see what other people were saying for it. Pinterest was great. And then I picked up the books. I started with the Daily 5 first, because that's more the framework of it. And so I read the Daily 5, and I looked at it and I said, this is never going to work. What I'm doing in my classroom is, I like it, it's working in there. But I was talking to a couple other teachers and we were like, we're just going to do it. We're going to follow what the back of the book says, the program for the 6 weeks of how you introduce the Daily 5. And it lays it out really nicely. I mean, it's a very smooth transition. You start here, you do this, and you gradually build to it. And my team, we were like, that's it, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stick with it, we're going to work together. And we started with it, and I will tell you, I absolutely love the program. I have seen such great progress and growth with each of my students. And the whole thing is about, like, if you talk about differentiating and individualizing, you know, and that type with your students, this is it. I mean, I know each of my kids know exactly the level that they're at, where they're reading at. Their sight words are, you know, specifically geared to what they need at, you know, what they're working at. My name is Rachel Kalis, and I'm a second grade teacher at Sterling Morton.
But once we got used to trying things in the room and seeing that it does work, it is nice to have the kids in groups, small group, whole group, individual, one-on-one, and alone. I mean, I didn't really realize that was balanced literacy. It's having a little bit of everything in your room.
Right.
And it took a lot of practice, a lot of patience, and you have to let stuff go.
How does your room look different, or your interactions with kids look different now from last year?
It was a lot of whole group last year. And then they took their stuff to their seat, and then it was independent. It wasn't a lot of small group, learning to get along in a small group to do a skill. My name is Kathy Pedley, and I teach kindergarten at Brentmore.
Thanks.
Balanced literacy to me means providing the students with various reading and writing activities at their level, and then allowing them time to do those activities every day. So it also requires for me to teach them the strategies to be independent and to be like lifelong readers and writers, and those strategies are helping them do that. So for me, it's just providing the opportunities for the differentiation for them, and then letting them do them independently every day. That makes sense. And then our way of doing it is the Daily 5, of course, and that's just one way with the cafe that helps me teach the strategies to be independent. And the Daily 5 is like the one classroom management tool I use for balanced literacy.
Okay. I know a lot of teachers are wondering like how Imagine It fits into the whole balanced literacy piece. So how does it, or where does it fit?
Yeah, going into this year I wasn't sure how it would fit, and then it turned out for me that it's been more of a resource. So just one of many resources. So for me it's been when a certain story from Imagine It fits the skill I'm teaching, I have used it. Especially if you need multiple copies of the same story, it's kind of nice. So one resource for me. And I couldn't do the balanced literacy that we're doing right now without our book room. We pull a lot of books from there, and I even go visit there to help the kids pick a book at their level independently, but I use them for my groups as well. Also, I use News ELA. I like those for the nonfiction articles, and I can do those by level. ReadWorks has been a really good resource for me. And my favorite resources are Teachers Pay Teachers, blogs, and Pinterest.
Okay.
Everyone's looks different, I guess. You know, are we doing this right, and how are you doing it? But really, we all have a different way of doing it. I do 2 rotations, someone else does 3, some people do 5, but it's just how it fits with your students. So however it works for you and your students has really been. I'm Amy Land. I teach 4th grade at Lake Elementary.
The kids love it. They want to do it. They get to read at their own level. Like I said, I've never known or been as good at knowing where my kids are going and what they need as I do this year. Mm-hmm. Because I really know, I feel like I know my whole class, and what they all
Right.
need.
And with a few exceptions, I mean, the behavior piece is pretty much, that's, but people might misunderstand the Daily Five. It's more of like a behavior management tool as well, because that's what they're doing. It's scary to think, okay, well, you're working with these kids, what are your other kids doing? I mean, it comes down to the science of the Daily Five. So the behavior really, it keeps itself in check, in my, at least.
Because they like it,
Yeah,
and they want to do
exactly.
it.
That's
So,
right.
so they don't. I mean, we'll stop them if they're and they don't want to stop. They always ask to. When can
Keep
we?
going.
If we miss it,
I
they
know-
want to know.
I don't know what
when
that
we're gonna
says.
do it.
No, their favorite part is coming to work with us.
It is. I know. Oh, we didn't get to work with you today.
That's
You
true.
will. You
That's
will.
true. And that's what's good with the balanced literacy, is that it encompasses all of it. So they're working on the word work while they're working on the writing, while they're getting information from us and each other. So it ties it all in, you know, and it's not all isolated, because then when they're coming with us, through modeling, like she was saying, and with the book, the Daily Five book, The Sisters, they really map it out for you. And once you have the first little mini lesson of what they should be doing in that specific station, it all is like a repetitive process. So once they know how to read independently, they know how to read with a partner, they know how to word work, and then you keep those eye charts up, and then you're just correcting any misbehaviors. And after about, I mean, for third grade, it was like a week or something. They had it down. So what
First
you do
grade,
is
like-
what you do.
And in first grade, we would start like we would just do 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, they used to start really short, and you know, you just talk like you model the correct and the incorrect behavior,
Mhm.
and then you just, you know, and as soon as you see someone doing something they're not supposed to do, you're supposed to stop and then regroup and talk about
Building stamina.
right what exactly and what do we do on the eye chart that we were supposed to do, or some things that maybe we shouldn't have done, and then
Yeah.
you do it again and you just incorporate longer and longer. And I mean, it didn't take long. I mean,
Yeah.
first grade probably took a month.
My name is Tatiana Svedovac. I teach third grade at Sterling Morton.
I'm Jennifer Hillsman. I teach first grade still in Martin.
So I'm in the school one day a week, and that's typically Thursdays, to help the teachers in different ways. So one day, it'll just be teacher support, and that really is based on what the teachers would like in their classroom, or as far as a one-on-one conference at that time. So it could be going in and modeling a lesson in their class. It could be sitting with them and their planning period or lunch and looking at their literacy block and planning for it. Brainstorming a dilemma that they have in their classroom. So that teacher support day is really loose depending on the teacher or the grade level need. Often the teacher support is as a result of a conversation we had in a study group. Okay, so that's another day, is a study group day. The study group takes place all day long, and we meet for 2 hours in grade level groups. So K1 will meet for 2 hours, 2-3 will meet for 2 hours, and 4-5. And the topic stays the same for each of the grade levels. It might change a little bit depending on the grade level that we're working with. Yeah, these teachers are amazing. They're really great. They're so professional. And they bring so much knowledge with them, obviously. So when we started, I think that there's always fear with change, you know? So it was like, oh gosh, we have these Daily Five books. Do we have to jump in and implement everything right away? And so I think there was anxiety in trying to figure out how to make it work in their classroom. Now, as they've implemented balanced literacy in the Daily Five, our conversation today was, let's look at what has worked beautifully, what we want to make sure continues. What are some things that we implemented that maybe don't work for us and we need to tweak and make sure that we can make it work for us so we feel comfortable next year? I think that they're realizing that balanced literacy is really the goal, right? That we are modeling for our kids' whole group and giving some direct instruction, that we're supporting the kids with whatever that skill was that we modeled in a small guided setting, and that we're giving the kids the time to practice that skill independently. Daily Five is a management structure. So if I'm meeting with the guided reading group, often what teachers wonder is, what do we do with all the other kids? And Daily Five answers that question by having the kids doing meaningful literacy activities in different stations: read to self, work on writing, work on word work, listening. Some teachers realize, hey, you know what? I don't need to have a Daily Five to work in my classroom. I might need a Daily 2 or a Daily 3. So we're taking what we've learned about comprehensive comprehensive literacy, balanced literacy. We're taking what we've learned about balanced literacy, about Daily 5, and we're coming up with something that's working for us as Brentwood teachers, for our classroom and our kids. I think the best thing is when you get teachers together and you give them the opportunity to share with each other, really beautiful stuff happens. That so often we're so busy within our own classrooms that we don't have the opportunity to have professional dialogue with each other. And the study groups and the PLCs give the teachers that forum to share with each other. And so many times I can sit back and just listen to these sharing of ideas and beautiful conversations because the teachers are a wealth of knowledge. It's just giving them the time, the opportunity to share with each other. That's really powerful.
Great.
Yeah.
And can you tell us your name and what your role is here in Mentor?
I'm Hallie Barger, and I am a Link coach.